Alright, so we have our tileable texture. We're not going to go into Max just yet. Let's collapse this down. Now, in Max we saw that there was a diffuse map slot that we already tested out. That's where this would go. This is the color image for the diffuse slot. But there's a bunch of other slots too. There's a reflection slot, there's a refraction slot, there's a bump slot. Those are probably the ones we'll use the most. Now, bump slot takes a black and white map. Well, it can take a color map too, but it's only using the black and white information. So, what we can do is make a copy of this diffuse map we have, and we'll make a bump map right on top of it. So, we only care about black and white. So we go up there and image, adjust, desaturate for the bump. And then keep in mind when we're making a map for the bump, what happens is the white versus black of the image is telling the render engine the depth of that material. So for example, these black grooves here are going to be low down, and the white part of the wood is going to be high up, if that's how we set it up. But the point is we use black and white to tell it depth. So if we can go into adjustments, go into levels again, and here we can we want to up the contrast, so we'll take our white clip and move it down to like right there, maybe even a little more. We'll clip out a bunch of those pixels because we don't want any bumps there. We want that wood to be a little smoother. And then we will bring up the black so that we can make sure that all that stuff that's pretty dark, especially the grooves, is going to be like pure black. So that will be our zero depth basically. And this white, which is going to be pure white because I clipped it, that will be our highest point. So depending on how we set our bump map up, that will be a certain amount of depth there. So with this map it was really easy to create a bump map, obviously. I mean, all we had to do was just kind of adjust the levels or the curves, and that will give us enough information to add some actual texture to that material. And I might want to, let's adjust it a little more. And of course you can do this with layer, adjustment layers, levels, and then you can do certain parts and then mask out again if you want, you know, like this. I don't know why you'd want to do that in this particular case, but it is available to you. So I might want it more like that, so those grooves are really accentuated, and then kind of just clip out almost all the other stuff. So leave those cracks going up and down. That's fine. And then I might want to go in here and maybe just get a solid black, and maybe take these, get a nice hard-edged brush, get it real small, and I might just want to hold down shift while I drag. You can make some real nice, want it a little smaller though. Make sure that's just a solid black line so you're getting the look you want for siding. Hold down shift. And now one thing we can do is just select those. Hit V for move. Hold down Alt and Shift so that it's moving straight and copying at the same time. Just keep laying those right over the top. Save you a little bit of time here. That's not perfect. Remember, you can use your arrows to place things. These ones aren't very good. Right there. So V to move, and then just moves move the arrows a little bit to the left. Okay, that'll probably work right there. So now we have really nice accentuated siding. And we might even want to, let's turn that off. You know, you might want to leave those on for when you do the diffuse map. I definitely do. So now when you save this, we can do save as, wood texture. It's good to come up with some nice naming convention. So wood underscore diff.jpg. For that one, that's our diffuse map. Let's save it high quality. And then we'll turn on this and this. And there's our bump map right there. Save that. With the same name, but underscore BMP for bump. So that's pretty simple, right? Now, you can apply this to everything else too. So with reflection maps, it's essentially the same thing. Let's see. For our reflection map, let's take... Now with reflection, the white is going to be reflecting like a mirror, and the black is going to reflect nothing. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So if I just take this again, and I want to get that guy too. So if you hit Control, Alt, Shift, crap, just forgot. Oh, Control, Alt, Shift, E. It's a lot to remember. That will take all the layers that are underlying. So if you go here and hit Control Shift, it takes all these layers. Control Alt Shift E will take all the layers below and copy them to a new layer here. So it will look identical, but this one's all collapsed together. And that's what we want for this, because now we can take this and make sure it's desaturated. Image adjustment, levels again. Well, let's do a layer. I almost always do adjustment layers because you can turn them on and off, go back, use masks, all those kind of things. So levels. Now we don't want this to be really reflective, so actually what we should do is kind of like this. And I don't want a lot of contrast there either. So I can kind of take white completely out of the equation by making the maximum white only 114 instead of 255. And there's still too much contrast in there. Let's put it here and kind of do this. Yes, there we go. See, there's not a lot of contrast there at all. And then, okay. So now we're making sure that this is supposed to be a groove, like a space between the wood, so obviously it wouldn't be reflecting in there. And now each of these planks is reflecting slightly, but the important thing is you have a little bit of variation in the color of your reflection map here, so that will read more correctly, because obviously if you have wood that's reflecting, it's not going to reflect like a mirror. There's going to be little scratches on it and little grooves in it and those kind of things. So this adds just that little aspect of realism that you're going to need. So there you go. I mean, there's a decent reflection map. And just keep in mind, if this was really, you know, there's a thick lacquer on this wood or something, you could make it something like that. I mean, that would be totally overboard, but you can do whatever you want with these reflection maps and make it look all sorts of different effects. Make it look however you want. Dang it, I undid what I did. All just using these different maps. So in the next video I'll show you how to implement this into making a material in 3D Studio Max. Let me just finish up my map here, save it out as reflection. You'll want to always save your work as a PSD too, so that you can go back if you need to, if it doesn't look quite right. There's a lot of tweaking involved with this kind of stuff, so Save it as a PSD. We'll just call it wood. And there you go. Now we can always come back to this if we need to tweak some stuff, which we very likely will. So stay tuned for the next video and I'll show you how to implement this into making a material.